Long before BTS, EXO, and 101 were trainees, Super Junior had already been singing and dancing on the stage, stealing the hearts of numerous young girls all over the world. However, nowadays there is barely any news about the group. Are they still together? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be looking at in this video. So without further ado, let's talk about what you guys clicked this video for, the story about what happened to Super Junior. The younger generation may only know members such as Kim Heechul and teuk as variety show hosts, or Siwon and Kibum as actors. But these K-pop icons have actually played quite a significant role in turning K-pop into the current form that the world is familiar with today. It all began in the year 2000 when SM Entertainment, Korea's largest entertainment company, was holding their first overseas casting auditions. In these auditions, Hangeng was recruited to be the first member of a new singing group. Later that year, teuk, Yesung and Eunhyuk were also recruited after they auditioned for SM Entertainment's annual auditions. Sungmin and Donghae joined the group after winning a competition sponsored by SM Entertainment. Heechul, Kangin and Kibum were recruited by different casting agents. The group finally came together when Siwon joined in 2003 and Shindong joined shortly after in 2004 as a trainee. Ryeowook joined in 2004 after winning a youth singing festival, and 2 years later, Kyohyun joined after winning 3rd place in the same festival. Finally, in 2005, Yesung, the owner of SM Entertainment, revealed that he had been preparing to set up a boy band of 12 members who would be debuting later on in the year. This was the birth of Super Junior. After their debut performance on November 6, 2005, they immediately had some success. Their debut album, Twins, sold over 25,000 copies in the first month of release and reached number 3 of the monthly charts in December. Even though this number may seem small now, in 2005, selling over 25,000 copies of a debut album was a pretty big deal. The following year, Super Junior released their single, You, for free download on their website. Within 5 hours, the single had surpassed over 400,000 downloads, and this continued until the single had reached 1.7 million. The amount of traffic was too much for the website server to handle, which led to it crashing. The song became one of Korea's most famous songs that year and took up the #1 spot for 5 consecutive weeks, something that was considered nearly impossible at the time. Fast forward to 2008, the group had grown massively in popularity, not only in Korea, but also all across Asia. In 2009, Super Junior had their international breakthrough thanks to their viral hit Sorry Sorry from their 3rd studio album of the same name. On top of its critical and commercial success, the song was also the reason behind the dance craze on social media. This was without a doubt a stepping stone into the group's road to a global stardom and their role in introducing K-pop to the rest of the world. In 2010, the problems began to arise. The group had a lot of legal issues and lineup changes during their tour. Kangin was charged with a hit and run after he crashed into a taxi. Hangeng was desperate to leave the group and voided his contract with SM Entertainment after claiming the conditions on the contract were unfair. He left the group and went solo, releasing an album, Kangin, in 2010, which sold over 500,000 copies. Kangin also had to depart from the group to fulfill his 2-year mandatory military service. This year was the start of Super Junior's downfall. All the momentum they had gained from their albums were lost, and their sales started to slow, and members were starting to leave. However, this was not the end of Super Junior. The remaining members worked hard, and although there was a more critical response to their albums and songs, they still managed to find great success with Sorry Sorry, selling over 300,000 copies of their 4th studio album. The group promoted the album through their third Asia tour and sold out every venue that they performed at. The group also traveled to LA, Paris, Tokyo, and New York City to perform and were greeted with a good response by fans. Throughout this period, because the group only consisted of 10 members, there were often lineup changes, with other singers recruited from competitions and festivals temporarily taking the spots of the members who were unable to perform. Sexy Free and Single was released in the summer of 2012 and marked the return of Kangin. The group was also nominated for Best Asian Act at the MTV Europe Music Awards that year. This showed that they were still very popular, even though it had been 7 years since their debut. In 2013, the group announced their world tour and went to several different countries, including China, South America, Japan, North America, and Europe. 2 years later, the group was still going strong. In August 2014, the group released their 7th album, Mamacita. Within just 3 days, the album ranked number 1 on the Billboard's World Album Chart. They then had another world tour, which was called the Super Show 6. This world tour was also pretty successful and had a positive impact on the group's progress. However, things began to slow down for them, and they didn't release another album until November 2017. 3 years later, the comeback was well received by their fans, and there was a lot of suspense building up to the release of the new album. Another significant thing that happened during this time was the airing of a reality show called Super Junior Real Comeback Story, which explained how the group developed their album. At the end of 2018, they released the music video for one of the songs in the album called Black Suit. Some might say that this song was successful, while others may disagree. It attained 3 million views within 24 hours, which sounds like a lot, but compared to Blackpink and BTS, it isn't anything much. On the other hand, 2018 also saw Super Junior collaborate with 2 separate Latin American acts to create Lo Siento and One More Time, both which scored places on Billboard's Latin music charts. Lo Siento was a collaboration between Super Junior and Latin American singer Leslie Grace, while One More Time, released later the same year, featured the Mexican group Rake. Both songs include a mix of Korean, Spanish, and English, and garnered attention from both Latin and Korean fans alike. After the release of these 2 hit tracks, the boys kicked off a Super Show 7 arena tour in South America, performing in places most K-pop groups have never been, including Argentina, Peru, Chile, and Mexico. Moving on to the most recent years, 2019 and 2020, the majority of the group continues to make music. Although the group only contains 9 members now, they still continue to make albums. The 9th album, Time Slip, was released in 2019, and again, there was a decrease in interest for the group. This veteran and legendary group recently celebrated their 15th anniversary by holding an online fan meeting for ELFs. Despite having huge success previously, Super Junior has somewhat lost its popularity. I mean, it's not a surprise that the group started 15 years ago and has now lost a bit of fame, right? But the numbers are not what's really important. It's the legacy you leave behind. Super Junior has spread happiness to millions through their music and continue to do so, with their 10th album due to be released in December 2020. If you're watching this video after the album has been released, let us know what you would rate the album out of 10. This has been the story about what happened to Super Junior, one of the most iconic boy groups in K-pop history. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about Super Junior. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more K-pop content like this.